we are. So good morning, everyone. Yes, so how, once again, is everyone feeling today? That was beautiful music from Annette, as always. And always feel blessed to be here. Now, I'd like to guide you in a short meditation to begin with. So I invite everyone just to settle comfortably into your seat. Allow any extraneous thoughts to gently and easily move through your mind as you become fully present at this moment in time. Relax your physical body. Allow any tension and tightness to dissolve so that you can begin to feel lighter and shine brighter. You're an energetic being having an individualized human life experience. Each one of us are. We are all part of the whole. Our thoughts and actions create a ripple. Let us set the intention to ground and center our energy at this time. Doing so will help us all feel more balanced, stable, and focused. We'll begin by visualizing our legs as tree roots growing deep within the earth to ground our energy. These intentional, energetic roots are extending upwards into our root chakra, and a vine is wrapping around our legs, anchoring our energy to Mother Earth below. Pure white light is flowing downwards through our crown chakra into our being, filling us with unconditional love, awareness, understanding, and wisdom. Now envision beautiful emerald green energy at our heart chakra and feel the expansion that is occurring within us. Begin intentionally breathing in the energies of peace, love, compassion, joy, and unity as we exhale any heavier, lower vibrational emotions, including fear, worry, doubt, and lack. We are each connected to the earth below, to the light above, and to the love that surrounds us. Next, visualize white light at our core and then see that white light shifting to yellow as we take a few conscious breaths to center our energy as we attain the peace within. Once again, breathe in deeply and exhale audibly. And so it is. So how does that feel? Feeling a little more relaxed, a little more at peace, maybe a little more grounded even? I know we're blessed with this beautiful weather that we're experiencing, a bit windy, but what a glorious day to be here and to be connected. So today I'm going to talk about the bridges that connect us. And this reminder, too, about endings and new beginnings. I've had so much I wanted to cover in a short amount of time, so I'm just letting God's Spirit Universe to help to influence our time together. So to begin with, perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. Our perspective is a particular attitude towards something, which would be our point of view. Our life experiences, culture, conditioning, and even the vibration that our energy resides at in the moment will ultimately play a role in what we perceive and how we perceive it. Regarding perspective, I'm reminded of the book, The Four Agreements, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is one of my favorite books, and I do highly recommend everyone at some point in their life taking a moment to read it, and maybe read it again. So the fourth agreement is a reminder for us to always do our best, knowing that our best is going to change from moment to moment. Our best will be different when we're feeling healthy, well, and balanced, even rested, as opposed to feeling unhealthy, unwell, and imbalanced. And as we know, that's going to affect our perspective. As humans, we may choose to label something as good or bad, positive or negative, even easy or hard. It's a matter of how we look at it. And in reality, this is our perception, and typically it's based on previous experiences. As humans, we tend to compare something to something else. That's just our human nature. And when we change our perception, we will typically change our life. It's a matter of looking at life through that soul lens, through that higher soul perspective. And the secret to truly creating the life and future we desire is knowing that we do have the ability to shift our perception of the experiences that we've had, the ones we're currently having, and even the ones that we will have in the future. Since everything is energy and awareness is everything, I personally feel empowered embodying Unity's third principle. And as a reminder, that principle reminds us that our thoughts have created power to influence events and determine our experiences. A lot of it has to do what we think about, what we focus on, once again. Our energy and our outlook truly do create our reality. And I know that many of the energies surrounding us can be a bit chaotic, feel a bit heavy at times, right? We can take a moment and even see what comes into our awareness as we think about that. Something that may have been in the news or may be in our personal life for sure. Becoming aware and even more aware of our energy investments, and then choosing to be the observer whenever possible, will really help us to shift that energy. Especially since we have no control over most circumstances. And as a reminder, we do have control of our thoughts and our words, our actions, our emotions, our perception, and then our response. And pretty much everything else is beyond our control. So think about that just for a moment. Think about and briefly consider any times when you allowed yourself to be negatively affected, that word was tough to get out, by those things beyond your control. We allow it to affect our mental health, our physical health, our emotional well-being, and this is where we can take that power back. So let's intentionally clear some energy right now. Just take a big deep breath for me. A nice, audible exhale as we once again focus on those energies of peace and love and ease and compassion. And anytime you're feeling challenged, just come back to yourself and take that big deep breath. So now that I've laid some perceptual groundwork, let's direct our attention to bridges, specifically those bridges that connect us. And literally speaking, we know that bridges are a physical structure, allowing us to cross from one side to another, especially when there's a body of water involved. such as connecting two banks of the river. A bridge between people enables the passage of ideas. Bridges connect people who are in different places. And we're probably all familiar with the Zoom platform. That has been a great bridge for us during the past few years. Bridges open up the opportunity for people to be helped while reducing isolation, and bridges are a more efficient way of getting to another point. Bridges can be interpreted as a connection between heaven and earth, as well as a connection between God and man. We've all heard sayings referencing the term bridge. One saying is, "We will cross that bridge when we come to it," which reminds us not to worry about a possible problem until it actually happens. And even then, I encourage you to shift any worry energy to one of awareness and concern. Burning bridges means to act in a way that destroys any chance of returning to the way things were, which could mean an end to a relationship in such a way that you would never go back and restart the relationship again. It's all water under the bridge, references something that happened in the past and is no longer important or worth arguing about. And I know some of these sayings may be for those of us that are familiar with them. Some, I feel like they're perhaps older sayings, not saying anything about our age or anything like that. It's wisdom that we have. But I know sometimes these sayings may not be for those that are younger. Building a bridge is intentionally creating a connection, once again literally and also symbolically. These are the bridges that connect us. In this instance, the bridge can be a symbol of love, stability, and coming together. The poet Rumi reminds us that love is the bridge between you and everything. Think about that for a moment. Love is the bridge between you and everything, and even everyone. Tim Brown encourages us with his words by saying, "Build bridges of insight through empathy. See the world through the eyes of others. Understand the world through their experiences. And feel the world through their emotions." This interpretation appeals to our human nature, seeking connection. The most compelling symbol of bridges is one of transition. The bridge takes you from one place to the next. When you cross a bridge, there's often a sense that you're literally transitioning from one location to the next. This can entail solving a problem, overcoming an obstacle, surmounting a challenge, and even achieving a goal. J.P. Morgan states, "The wise man bridges the gap by laying out the path by means of which he can get from where he is to where he wants to go." A transition may also refer to when it is time for our soul to leave our physical form and return to pure love energy. The element of time can be a bridge as well, such as bridging the past to the future. In addition, we may reflect periodically on our past younger self, our current self, and our future wiser self, the self we're creating. We can even think about the people surrounding us, including those we've considered friends yet are no longer prominent in our life at this time. As we grow, change, and evolve, so do our relationships. With that in mind, Maddie Stepanek encourages us to keep all special thoughts and memories for lifetimes to come. Share these keepsakes with others to inspire hope and build from the past, which can bridge to the future. Additionally, I recognize that many of us are going through a period of transition right now, whether it be in our personal life, professional life, or both. Life happens and things change. We can flow with the change, or we can be resistant to the change that is occurring. Many times that change is already set in motion. John Irving states, you only grow by coming to the end of something and by beginning something else. Thinking about those windows of opportunity that we were referencing earlier with the daily word. In her book, Circuit Train Your Brain, Daily Habits That Develop Resilience, Molly M. Cantrell Craig shares, our lives have ebbs and flows. Ends and beginnings are illusions. Starting over is nothing more than recognizing the pause before picking up your thread and continuing to weave your own story. Her words remind me of the Chinese proverb which offers an invisible thread connects those who are destined to meet, regardless of time, place, or circumstance. The thread may stretch or tangle, but will never break. As changes occur within us and around us, let's each do our best to focus on the energy of love and to let love be the guiding force in all that we think, say, and do. Joel Benjamin lovingly reminds us that a positive attitude opens the door to positive opportunities, which leads to a positive life. And positive, once again, is a matter of our perception, isn't it? When we're presented with choices, some people may perceive a fork in the road. Wiktionary offers us this definition for those that may be curious of the term. Fork in the road is a junction in which one road becomes two divergent roads. It's also a point where a choice is to be made and one of two possibilities has to be taken. Spirit recently gave me insight during a session with a client seeking clarity on her perceived fork in the road. Once the question was posed, I immediately was presented with an image within my mind of a fork utensil, then a spoon. And I have to say I chuckled at that because I thought, well, isn't this interesting how Spirit's wanting to convey this message to me? And then Spirit conveyed through me that as humans, we believe we have to take one path or another. We choose to see the divide rather than the opportunities being presented to us. Playfully, Spirit showed me a fork utensil with its 4 tines, which could also represent different paths. Then the image quickly shifted to the spoon, and Spirit stated that we could simply play in the spoon's pool for a bit until we choose the path that resonated with us. And if necessary, we can even envision an intentional bridge over the spoon connecting us to where we desire to go or with what we desire to create. Every day we are presented with choices. Some choices seem small, while other choices may change the course of our life. Robin Sharma shares with us these wise words on this topic. She says, each day life will send you little windows of opportunity. Your destiny will ultimately be defined by how you respond to those windows of opportunity. Shrink from them and your life will be small. Feel the fear and run to them anyway, and your life will be big. Life's just too short to play little. And so when I was thinking about all of this, thinking about the bridges, the choices, the opportunities, I thought back to times in my own life where I had experiences. Sometimes the choices were made for me because I was a kid. But I distinctly remember a couple of pivotal times. One was when I was 11 and my parents divorced. And of course, that was a choice that was made for us because they made that choice to discontinue that connection. But it was a life change. It literally moved me from one location to another, a location that I would deem better. We were in southeast Oklahoma in a very small town called Antlers because my dad was there working on a dam project, literally helping to build a dam, and as a civil engineer, and so that's what took us to this very small area. And so we relocated to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, which was much more people. And then we relocated. My mom remarried, moved to Bixby, and circumstances happened. I was a sophomore in high school. I had to think back to this time span. And they decided they wanted to be in a more rural area. So they relocated us to Grand Lake, Oklahoma, to the big town. And I'm saying that very lovingly, a big cabin, Oklahoma. Literally a spot on the map. If you're traveling down Highway 69 or on the turnpike I-44 in Oklahoma, Big Cabin was known for its truck stop, and that was pretty much it. So that was a huge life experience change for me. It took me out of a space of what I perceived to be opportunity to one that I perceived to be lack. The school was very small, and they did not have the means, the classes that I were taking at the other school, they couldn't offer us, so they let me skip a grade. They let me take classes by myself, literally, just to accommodate until I graduated. And this was 1986 to 88, to give you a time span. Thankfully at that time, OU offered some classes on cassette tape that I could take. You know, that was before the internet time, but I also learned accounting, learned to type, and learned to cross stitch. So it was a really good time, and when I look at it in that perspective, that's also where I met my future husband, which laid that bridge and that foundation for the life that was to come. And being human, I think about, well, what if? Think about, had I not had this choice made and things like that. And I know all of us all go through that time in our life, but we have to trust that when we have experiences, those bridge us, do connect us to something else. And we don't have to think, well, is this better? Could it have been better? Instead, we think about that spoon that we can play in for a while and think about the choices that we can make for ourselves when it's time as well. So when I think about that too, I know that every experience has been the perfect experience. And through my life experience, my almost 52 years, I can recognize too that I wouldn't change a thing. Even though in those times I do think about, well, if I would have been where I was determined that I was going to be fluent in French, and I wanted to be an interpreter, and I wanted to go to Montreal, and maybe France, and all of this, and now I have just a few words still in my frame of reference from that time. But as we know, that's something that we can learn again and grow again with. So with that, once again, I know that many of you hear me say everything is energy, with that loving reminder to practice that good energetic hygiene, that reminder to cut cords and clear energy. And sometimes when we think about allowing things to close, those doors to close, those what ifs to close as well, we may want to do some cord cutting and some energy clearing, just to help to clear that residual energy from those experiences. And sometimes when we allow that proverbial door to close, it actually allows a new door to open for us, a door at the time that we couldn't even imagine. As we think about that, that could be a chapter in our life. It could be some end of a relationship. It can also be retirement from a career or another ending. And as the saying goes, when one door closes, another door opens. or a porthole, or a portal, depending on how we look at it. And subsequently, when any type of ending occurs, many times we're going to feel a gamut of emotions. It may be confusion, it may be sadness, it may be even relief. And there may also be a period of grief that we experience. So definitely honor yourself and any emotions that arise during that process. However, endings do provide space for new beginnings. And I do believe it's often best to let the doors close figuratively and literally, once again, so those new doors and windows of opportunity can open for us. A new beginning may represent a new individual coming into your awareness, a new relationship, a work-related prospect, or another opportunity. Allow yourself to begin anew and move forward. Planet Earth revolves around the sun, but our perspective is that the sun sets and the sun rises. But it's the earth that's moving. Just like us, we're moving and changing and evolving. We can choose to receive the gift of endings so that we can have fabulous new beginnings. And life is always working its magic on our behalf, if we believe it to be so. Rather than being fearful of the unknown and basking in any uncertainty of what is to come, let us embrace those windows as they appear, knowing that bridges will always connect us. And I want to add too, think about the bridges that you have, once again, with your past self, your current self, your future self, as well as those bridges that connect you to those around you. Thinking of how many times one thing leads to something else. Something so amazing. I want to share briefly, too, this past weekend, we were at War Eagle. And my husband's an artist, so we were there working, which is much different than when you're just going to look. It can be a lot longer hours. But we had the opportunity to make a connection with some people that Sunday afternoon that actually have a wildlife rehab facility literally 30 minutes from us. I knew that it existed, but I had not ever met the people and had never visited it, but they came, and I thought, well, isn't this cool? Isn't this cool that we met them, and they love my husband's work, and so that was really cool. And then they touched base on Wednesday to see if we still had a piece, and we did. So we happily delivered it to them Thursday. I got a tour of their facility. And I was in heaven. I love nature, I love wildlife, but getting to be up close and personal with a wild bald eagle. There were 2 eagles, and literally, of course I didn't touch them, but they were that close that I could have touched them. And a red-tailed hawk, and a 38-year-old tortoise, and lots of baby deer. I did get to be out with the deer, and they were coming to me. I'm sure they thought I had food, but they were still licking and letting me love on them. And so thinking about that bridge, that moment, and of course I said I would love to come volunteer, and I know many of you think of, well, volunteering could be the dirty work, literally, but I'm up for that as well. So think about those bridges, once again, the people that you may connect with that may lead to other windows and those connections. So in closing, I want to read a short excerpt to you. This is from this fabulous book by Alan Cohen. This book is titled Wisdom of the Heart, Inspiration for a Life Worth Living. And this passage is titled Your Passionate Purpose. And it says, the purpose of life isn't to safely arrive at death. It's to live so well that when death comes, you don't even notice it. You just go from life to greater life. Most people spend a great deal of time and energy protecting themselves from the things they fear. As a result, they don't really live, they merely survive. In denying their dreams, they sell themselves and their lives short. Life isn't about pedaling faster to keep up. It's about soaring beyond the limitations you've been taught to have. When you come to the end of your journey, it won't be that what you did will cause you regret. It will be what you didn't do. Don't compromise your adventure. Bring your passions to life, and life will bring your passion to you. Passion is the voice of God calling you to awaken to your true purpose. When you follow your heart and pursue your unique path, you live from inspiration, not desperation. Stay true to your passion, and death will never be able to touch you. If you celebrate your heart's desires, you'll deliver life to everyone you touch. Pretty powerful, isn't it? And gives us something to think about. Think about, are you living or are you surviving? Are you thriving or are you just existing? And we know that those bridges that connect us will help us to do just that.